Today's bell work, the first question tells us to sketch a graph that's an even degree with a positive leading coefficient. So what do we know about if it's even? What does that tell us about the arrows? Same. And if it's positive, what does that mean? They're going to both go up or both go down? So you can sketch anything. You can make one little U-turn. You can do a whole lot of little U-turns. You can make whatever kind of graph you want to make, as long as at the end they both have arrows pointing up. For number 2, it says it's an odd degree, which means what? Opposite, yep, different directions. So that one's a little trickier, because it's hard to figure out, well, which one goes down and which one goes up. Remember, this tells you what's going on the right side. So this is left and this is right. So because it's negative, I know that on the right side it has to go down. And that means that what is it going to do on the left? Is it going to do the same or opposite? Opposite. It has to go up. And you just need to connect those two arrows. And it's up to you how many loop-de-loops happen in between. So you can do a whole lot of loopy-loopy-loops. You can do no loopy-loops. They just need to come together. Any questions? All right. So let's go to our notes. We're on page 9. Okay, so page 9. So we're going to look at this. We're going to look at the table and determine a few things. The first one, we're going to look at it and determine where our relative max and mins are. So looking at this equation right here, this is the equation. Oops. What's the degree? What's the highest exponent in that equation that I highlighted in yellow? 3. So that would be my degree. The leading coefficient is the first number. 1. So I'm just going to put, because it's positive, I'm just going to put a plus sign. That's really all I care about. Is it positive or negative? I don't really care what the number is. I just need to know if it's a positive number or a negative. This is page 9. Page 9. So because it's a third degree and 3 is an odd number, odd functions don't have a high or low. We don't have an absolute max or absolute min, because one arrow is going up forever and the other arrow is going down forever. Yes.
So it's how many zeros, how many degrees zero?
So the zeros are how many times it crosses the x-axis.
They don't have no correlation.
So the degree is the most it could. But just because it's a third degree, that doesn't mean it crosses 3 times. You can have a third degree that only touches once or twice. But you can't have more than 3. You can have up to 3. All right. So looking at this graph, when we get to this point here, which is approximately x equals -2. Is that -2? Yeah. So when I get to about -2, it's a little bit, I'm going to put approximately. So it's not really actually at -2. It's around -2. So when I get to this top, I don't have any y values greater than what? What's this y value right here? What would be the y value? Is it 4? Why did I put 6? Where did I get 6 from? I don't know. Okay, 4. So what that tells me is this point is my hilltop, which makes it a relative maximum. So I was looking at the X value of that yellow dot. So right here, it was about, it's really not -2. I'm kind of rounding up. So that's why I said approximately -2. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, and we have a relative maximum at approximately -2, because it's really not -2. It's probably like -1.8 or something. And do we have a relative minimum? Do we have a dip? We do. So the dip is about here. All right, what's the X value of that green point? 1. And at that point, we don't have any Y values less than, and I put -5. So I think that's -5. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, okay. So what that means is that we have a relative minimum. And that's going to be near X equals 1. All right, any questions about that so far? Yes.
Can you get the degree based off just looking at the graph?
You can. That's what we're talking about in pre-calc. You would count how many times it turns and add 1. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next one. So we got a different graph here. So this is my function. And I'm really, in order to figure out the degree, the only thing I care about is the first thing. All of this doesn't mean anything to me. It's really this right here. That's the leader. It tells me everything I need to know. So my degree is 4. My leading coefficient is negative. So when you're looking at this graph, because both arrows go down, that means we don't have a minimum. That's none. We don't have a minimum. So then we're going to look at our hilltops. Show me with your fingers, how many hills do you see? How many hilltops? 2? Good. Now, can we agree that one of them is higher than the other, though?
Yeah.
We got one hill that's taller. So this one, which I'm going to call, put this one in yellow. This point would be a relative max, but it's also going to be our absolute max. So we have to put that order pair 2 places. Okay? So that point looks like it's at -27. So I'm going to put that here, but I'm also going to put it here. Here and here. But then there's another hill. It's a little baby hill. This point is not the absolute because it's not the tallest, but it does count as a relative max. So I'm going to approximate that and say that that's about 1.5, 1.5. Because to me, it doesn't look like it's on any particular number. It looks like it's in between. So on your skills check, you just have to approximate it. If it's in between numbers, just give me some kind of decimal. It doesn't matter as long as you're in the area. You just got to be in the neighborhood. All right, do we have any dips? Any valleys? Yes. Show me with your fingers how many. Yep, just one, and that would be right here. And that would be my relative min. And that is at 0, -3. Any questions? Okay, so homework 2 is due today. So let's go ahead, take out our homework that you picked up, and let's start working through it together. Let's go. Start working through our homework. Go ahead, write your first and last name at the top. Did you all pick it up when you picked up the homework when you walked in? Everybody pick up a homework too? You didn't? It's over here.
You said no red ink on home.
I would prefer not. That's my preference. That goes in the blue tray. All right. Write your first and last name at the top, and then this is period 3, so let's go through it together. So real zeros, that's how many times it crosses the x-axis. So looking at this graph, show me with your fingers, how many times does it go through the x-axis? So we agree that there are 2. Now, they don't go through at a whole value, so we have to figure out the approximate values. So the first one crosses between what 2 numbers? What is that? 0 and 1. Does everybody see that? So the first time it crosses through, it crosses the x-axis between 0 and 1. The second time it crosses right here, and that's between what? So it crosses between 0 and 1. Let's go ahead and fill that in. So 0 and 1. That's the first time it crosses. The second time, I got to keep going up and down, sorry. What does that look like? So that's 1, 2, 3. So Carmelo said 3 and 4. Who agrees that the second time it goes through at 3 and 4? All right, good. We don't really know exactly what they are. In order to figure it out, we would have to do the quadratic formula. But for now, we just know that it's some number in between 0 and 1, and then another answer between 3 and 4. All right, let's look at this graph. We have 2 arrows that point up. Do we have a highest point? If you keep going up, do we ever stop?
No.
So this is none. Now we do have a valley, and this point here is going to be my relative and my absolute min. So that would be at 2, -2. This graph doesn't have any hilltops, so we also don't have a relative max. There are no maximums at all in that graph. Any questions? All right, second graph. Show me with your fingers. How many times does it go through X? 3? Good job. So there's 3. All right, so there's 3 places. So this is my first place right here. Between what 2 numbers is that? Not -2, -3. Wait, I heard somebody say it. -1 and -2. So this is 0, this will be -1, and this is -2. So between -1 and -2, that's my first one. I'm telling you. Okay. And then what about my next one? 0 and 1. And then my third one is in between 1 and 2. So we have one between 0 and 1. We have another one between 1 and 2. All right, this is an odd degree function. So the arrows are opposite, which means we don't have a max or a min. We don't have an absolute max or min. Now we do have a relative max. That's this hilltop right here. I'm going to abbreviate that as -1, 1, 2, 4. So -1, 4. And it's approximately -1. It's not exactly -1. It's a little less, but we're in the neighborhood. And then we also have a dip in the graph right here. And I'm going to abbreviate that as +1, -1. All right, go ahead, flip it over to the back and try to work through the back by yourself, and then we'll go through it together.
On the skill check tomorrow, is it gonna be like the grass that's it's not gonna be on the point? Like,
I think we tried to make them so it's on the point, but if it's not, just approximate it. And remember, you can use your notes and bell work tomorrow, so any day you're absent, I do record and post daily. Also, the key to the notes are posted. So take a couple minutes and do questions 3 and 4, and then we'll work through those together. All right, let's see how we did. So for the first one, show me with your fingers, how many zeros do we have? How many times does it cross? Yep, just one time. Good job. And it crosses here, which is between what two numbers? What'd you say? Not negative. It's not negative. 2 and 3. So, because here would be 2, this would be 3. So, somewhere between 2 and 3. Is this even or odd? Looking at the arrows. Odd. So, that means we don't have an absolute max or min. Now, we do have a dip. And this would be my relative min, which I'm going to have to approximate that is -1/2. So I'm going to say -1/2 positive 1/2. Because it's not really at an exact point. If you didn't write it exactly like that, don't change your answer. It's probably still right. You just got to be close to mine. So if you put -1, I would even take that. We just got to be around the point. All right, and then we also have a hilltop here, which it's a little bit more than 1, but I'm going to round it down to 1 and say that it's about 1.3. Any questions about that? So when you're looking at a graph, you can't like hit these values exactly. We just have to estimate the best we can. All right, let's look at the second one. How many, show me with your fingers, how many zeros, real zeros do we have? How many times does it cross? 2 times. So that means we have 2 imaginary. But 2 are real. So the first one is here, which looks like to me is at -2, but maybe it's not. So I'm going to say it's between -1 and -2. And the second one is between -1 and 0. So we don't have a highest point because the arrows keep going up. So I'm going to say none. We have these 2 dips. One of them is lower. Okay, so both of these will be relative minimum. So they're both relative mins. But the lower one is also an absolute min. All right, so I got to do some approximation. So I'm going to call that one -1.5, -2.5. So I'm going to say it's -1.5, -2.5. I'll put that in 2 places. And then I have another dip, and that looks like it's about 1.5 and +0.5. Again, that's just an abbreviation. And then lastly, I have this hilltop, which looks like that is at about, and that's a relative max, not an absolute max. That looks like it is close to 0.3. All right, any questions?